putting in work. Work, yeah. Putting in work. I thank God for the favor when the money come. Half for the time, tax fees, and sufficient funds. What I gotta do to get ahead. I'm on to something. What I gotta do to get.
Welcome to the Modest Sports Show, home of your college athlete, where we're player-led and player-focused. I'm Kory, and today we have another amazing guest. What's special about this guest is she comes from my alma mater, and so I'm ecstatic to have her on the show as she's going to bring a very, very interesting perspective. And yeah, so let's jump right into it, Katelyn.
For sure.
Let me ask you this. So you are originally from Chicago, right?
Yeah, I'm from Chicago. That's where I grew up at, but I was born in the DMV area. That's where all my family and stuff still at right now. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Very cultural areas. All right. So check this. Let me ask you, because I hear a lot. I'm a big corporate fan. Sure you. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So I hear about Harold's, I hear about Wilma's, and I hear about Jerk 48. If you gotta start, bench, cut one. What we got?
So I'm cutting Wilma's because I never actually ever been.
Oh, okay.
I never been. Wait, you said it's start, bench, and cut?
Start, bench, cut.
Okay.
This for the Chicagoans.
Yeah, I'm cutting Wilma's. I've actually never been.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe this is gonna sound so crazy, but maybe it's because I'm black and I'm just obsessed with fried chicken. But yeah, I'm gonna have to start Harold's. Every time I go back, that'd be the first thing I'm ordering. So then I'm gonna go ahead and bench Jerk 48. Even though I don't really want to because they jerk chicken pasta.
Yeah.
Right.
It looks good.
I don't care what y'all say. That's 10 out of 10.
Okay. I can't lie. When I be watching corporate, I'll be like, damn, that food, it does look good.
Yeah, it's fried for sure.
Speak to me about the deep dish pizza too, because now this is what I hear. Let me just say this real quick, okay? When it comes to deep dish pizza, I hear Chicago, Detroit. Which one got the best deep dish?
First of all, it's always Chicago. I don't care what Detroit got going on. Y'all can never do it like us. Okay. But then here's the other thing I'll say about deep dish though, because everybody be like, oh, we come in Chicago, we're gonna have to eat that deep dish pizza. First of all, if you from Chicago for real, you only eating deep dish from Giordano's on special occasions. That's not the pizza that we eat on a regular. On a regular, you'll have something like Italian Fiesta. That's regular, thin crust pizza or whatever the case is. We don't be eating deep dish every day. So if that's what they telling you, they're lying.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, cool then. Cool, man. I think that might be my best icebreaker segment yet in the history of our show. I like that. A lot of energy.
I know how to talk. So, when they be asking me questions, I know. And plus, I do my own podcast too. So I know sometimes it take a little bit to get people to want to chat.
For sure. We're gonna plug that in later in the show. For now, let's go back to your earlier days in Chicago. What did growing up in Katelyn's household or just on her block, what did that look like?
So for me, it was just me and my dad. When I was born in DC, my mom had passed when I was 9 months old. And so we lived in DC until we was in Maryland, but like I said, we all in the DMV area. But I was there until I was about 7 or 8 years old. And so the first place that we moved to when we got to Chicago was with my uncle. He lived on the south side in Jackson Park. He got a house and stuff or whatever the case is. And so we was living with him for a couple years. And it was pretty cool, for the most part. But most of the people in the neighborhood was older or grown or whatever the case is. So I didn't really have too many friends on my block, but school and stuff is real cool. For elementary school, I had went to Betty Shabazz. It was a very Afrocentric school, so that's why I know as much as I know about Black history, because they was not playing that. I mean, we was vegetarian, we was learning everything that you could learn about when it came to Black history. So it was a really cool and immersive experience. I really enjoyed it. But me and my dad moved around a lot when we was in Chicago. There was one block that I was on that was still on the south side. Where I did have a lot of friends in the building and stuff. We would be running around on the block and stuff like that. That was actually the place that I lived at when we had our 2011 snowstorm, when it was I don't even know, maybe 5 feet of snow piling up on cars. It was crazy. It was crazy. We ain't never seen nothing like that since then, but it was really a great time. And the most recent place that we lived at, that I don't live there anymore though, but most recently Still sort of kind of like around the corner from my uncle's house, but on 67th Street over there near Jackson Park, like the actual park. And then we was probably about like a 15-minute walk from the beach and stuff like that. So it was real cool. Wasn't really like tripping too much. But when it came to high school though, I didn't go to school on the south side. I mean, like I had Kenwood, that was probably maybe like 10-15 minute bus drive from me, but I ended up going to Walter Payton, so that was up on the north side with all the, the white kids and stuff like that. But it was cool though, because it's pretty diverse. And it was kind of nice, like being sort of kind of near towards downtown, because if I wanted to like go to the beaches up there or like go shopping, all that other stuff, it wasn't too far. It was pretty easy to get to. But yeah, that's kind of like how it was for me. In terms of like being an athlete though, the one park or like track that we used to run at was Jackson Park. They had a track down there. I think they ended up moving it, I think like a block down the street, because they wanted to renovate it. But yeah, that's kind of how I grew up in Chicago.
Okay, so let me ask you this, and I think what's going to be interesting about this conversation today is at times, us as Black people, we come from a lot of disenfranchised communities.
Mm-hmm.
And so particularly with Chicago, right, we got a very fine understanding of the challenges and the struggles of the city. So I definitely want to hit on that. But I also want to, I guess my first question for you is, where did the passion for track start?
So it started, I remember this day like vividly. So we was at Betty Shabazz, it was my 8th grade year, and we was having like our morning circle or whatever the case is. And there, the third, I think Mama Tolu. Like, okay, also that's the other thing. Like when I'm talking about teachers there, like we call them Mama and Baba, like out of respect, because like I said, very Afrocentric. So okay. Mama Tolu, I think she was teaching maybe like 3rd or 4th grade at the time, and she used to run track when she was in college. I think she used to run for Chicago State, if I'm not mistaken. So if you listen to this, please don't get mad at me if I said it wrong. But I used to run track in college, and like I would love to like have another like athletic program for the school, because I think at that point we only maybe had like 2 or 3 athletic teams. And so she was handing out like papers that like was, come to track and field practice or whatever the case is, like later on the week, and then y'all could try out or just be on the team, whatever the case is. And I was like, well, I used to play basketball at the first school that I went to. So there was a Christian, like a private Christian school that I went to first. I forgot the name of it. But I was there until maybe about like 4th grade, and I was on like the girls basketball team there. I tried to do cheerleading too, but that didn't really work out. And so I was like, well, since we don't have like a basketball team, like it makes sense to join track, because my mom used to run track too when she was in high school. I think she ran in college too. So I was like, yeah, okay, cool. I'll try it out. Bro, first day of practice, Mama Tolu had us laid out. I said, girl, I'm in the 8th grade. I'm 12 years old. I cannot survive whatever you got going on. Like, we running around like the gym or whatever, running up down through the shades, like running through the hallways and stuff. And it was just so crazy. But for whatever reason, I was like, nah, like she really killing us, but I want to keep doing it. And so my dad was like, yeah, you might as well, because, it ain't no basketball team, whatever the case is. So you might as well, just keep going. So that's kind of like where it started. But then I think I really like got into it when I got to my freshman year of high school at Payton, because when I got on the team, most of the girls that were like doing it were like distance runners. There wasn't really like too many sprinters and stuff. And so I think after being like the first freshman, I was the only freshman that year to make the final of the 200 at sectionals. And so I was like, dang, like I almost went to state. Like I can run for real. Like, let me lock in. Like I'm trying to do this in college. And so that's kind of like where everything just like took off, because, like I said, I played basketball, but I still wasn't like super great at it. I played for a couple years at Payton, but ended up letting it go by my senior year. And then, I was really bad at being a cheerleader, because I was not flexible at all, and I was looking stupid. So I was like, this is all I got. I ain't got nothing else going for me, so might as well.
So let me ask you this, right? Just to segue a little bit, right? I guess I'm from Alabama, okay? I'm from the South, all right?
Yeah.
It's actually crazy, because I was reading comments today on Twitter. It was some post, and it was, I think Carlos Miller had quote tweeted or something. It was a post pretty much, and he was saying like, I forgot what the difference. It was something about Chicago, and they was like, but Carlos, he from Mississippi, and he was like, they all from Mississippi anyway. And so just that type of pipeline, a lot of people, I guess, have roots in Mississippi that's from Chicago. So I'm from the South. I say all that to say I'm from the South. So like, I grew up in rural America. You know, I frequent Birmingham. I mean, my family lives there. And that's more city-like, I guess, like you think in terms of like Atlanta or, you know, other like Memphis in the South cities, but nothing quite like Chicago. And so I just want to ask, like, right, earlier I mentioned, you know, the gun violence and stuff like that Chicago faces. How do you as a teenager, right, like how do you navigate that type of life, being in that type of ecosystem? Like, how do you have fun? How do you keep your head? Like, how do you stay focused? Like, help somebody that's not from it understand the fabric of what it's made of.
For sure. So at least for me, like, my dad was extremely protective. So like, it'd be so funny when people be like, "Oh, what was the parties like when you was growing up?" My father did not let me out the house. Like, so don't ask me about no juke parties. I wasn't there. My dad would not let me leave the crib. He was like, "I don't care if you're going with somebody that I know, whatever the case is, like, you're not leaving the house. So please don't ever ask me." It's not that I'm not cultured. It's just my father really cared about my life. But yeah, like, I think having a dad that cares so much about me, probably because like he was the only one raising me for 21 years, like that really kind of like helped me, because when he was growing up in DC, he grew up in Anacostia, and I don't know if you know anything about Anacostia, but I mean, now it's gentrified, so you be straight, because I was living out there 2 summers ago, and it wasn't nothing going on. But when he was growing up, like, it was to the point to where the school that he went to, they was calling it Animal Costume, because they was just acting a straight fool. So for him to like grow up through all of that stuff, so like he knows what it takes to like be safe and like not have to go through that. And like I said, since he was only like, I'm his only kid, he did everything that he could to kind of like shelter me from the stuff that he went through, even though it was in a completely different city. So yeah, like I said, he wasn't really letting me leave the house. Like, he'd be calling my phone like 10 times a day, like. And it was also so crazy because so we didn't have a car, because we didn't really grow up like super rich or whatever the case is. And so we would have to like walk down the street for me to get to school. Okay. And I remember us getting on the bus, and I seen 2 of my classmates, Mulan and her brother, and they was on the bus by themselves. And they Mama Tara, rest in peace to her, love her so much. But that was like, "Oh, y'all not with y'all mom? Like, what's going on?" My dad was like asking the same question, like, "Why y'all not with y'all mom? Like, it's dangerous. Like, y'all young." Because me and Mulan was in the same grade. Her brother, who I think was like 2 or 3 grades under us. Yeah. And they was like, "Our mama been letting us catch the bus since we were little, like by ourselves." And I'm like, "What?" And me and my dad was looking like, "Are you serious?" And so that day was the day that like convinced him to like let me catch the bus by myself, because mind you, I was still young. That probably started in like 6th or 7th grade. But he was like, "Okay, fine. Like, if other parents are like trusting their kids," but like I said, he was still very much like concerned. So I would have to like call him at every stop, make sure that he knew that I was at school, like so that way he could be cool about it. But it was definitely like very difficult, because I also remember there was this one time, I had got to the crib before my dad did, and he was like, "Oh, I'll be back soon." Like an hour go by, I'm like, "Where's you at?" And so I'm calling him. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm outside." I'm like, "So you just not going to come in the crib? Like, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Nah, like, a couple people got shot in the alley. And so the police is out here. So they had to, like, make sure that I wasn't a suspect. So they just been kind of, like, make sure everything cool." And I'm just like, "Are you serious?" I also remember another time, another apartment that we lived in, same, like, neighborhood, but, like, some blocks and stuff over. Bro, we driving down the street. I don't know what was going on, but somebody like shot at like the top of our car, and me and my dad like pulled over, and we're like, "What the hell?" And like the cops had pulled us over too, and they was like, "Did you shoot the gun?" I'm like, "How he shoot the gun out?" Like, so like it's a whole bunch of stupid stuff. And like, thankfully, I'm fortunate enough to never have been like super exposed to that stuff, but like having friends and like knowing people that were, was definitely like a difficult time in the struggle, because I mean, I would always be concerned about them. My dad would be too, and so would like the adults and stuff, because obviously, you know, you want to see your teammates and your classmates and stuff succeed, but then when you get, you know, put in these situations where you have no other choice, because, you know, you not really making no money, like your parents not really making no money, but like bills and things and like needs need to be met, you know, you really don't got no choice, which is why I try not to like crap on people too much about it. Because at the end of the day, like you never really know what people are going through. And like at the end of the day, they're really just in survival mode. Like if somebody feels like they don't really, you know, have another choice, you know, they're gonna end up doing some things that I'm sure that as they grow up and like mature, they're gonna realize that that's probably not something that they really wanted to get into. Assuming and like praying that they get out of stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of like how it was for me. Like it was one of those things where it's like it never directly like happened to me, but I was always like next to it or like near to it. And I think that was even more scary because it was like I could easily fall into this at any moment. Like if my dad didn't like hound me the way that he did, I could have been another person, either, you know, gone from gun violence or like getting involved in like gang activity and stuff like that. But it's definitely like a weird vibe. But I also like hate telling people stuff like that because I'm like, Chicago has like so much culture and like life, and it's really a fun time. I mean, like I'm bored of being there because I spent like 12, 13 years there. So I'm like, it's just Chicago to me. But you know, when you really like are enjoying your time there, enjoying the people and the stuff that you meet and like realizing like how rich Chicago is, it's like, y'all, like we not only known for gun violence, like some of your favorite artists come out of Chicago. Like y'all always, I mean, I'm not the biggest Kanye fan because I think he's a little strange, but the rest of y'all love Kanye. Yeah, that's exactly where he's from. Before y'all was hating on Chance, like Chance is from Chicago, like a whole bunch of people that y'all love. So I it's like I'm cool with touching on the subject because it's like it's reality, but then it sucks because I'm like, y'all, like Chicago is really so dope. Like that's not the only thing that we're known for.
Yeah, and I want to. My only reason, really, truly, for asking the question was just because I wanted to shine a light on how you navigated, you know, those situations. But
parental involvement, I'm telling you, like, I'm telling you, them parents and like even the parents of the kids that like I went to school with, they didn't really play that either. I mean, they was less strict. Like they did get to go out and like go to parties and do all that extra stuff, but like they was taking care of me too, making sure that I was good. So yeah, like definitely I think parental involvement and like having like either a mother or a father figure or a mentor in your life, I promise you it changes the world for so many people.
Yeah, so it takes a village to raise a child.
Yep.
And so just on that tip, right, let's transition back over to the track, right? What did recruiting look like for you in high school?
So the first thing for recruiting is I signed up for NCSA. I don't know if you know what that is, but really you pay like $100 and they say they could get you like, you know, all this stuff. I'm not gonna talk too bad about them because the person that got assigned to me, I don't remember her name, but I loved her so much. So I'm not gonna talk bad about her. But the system is low-key a scam because when I was going through the recruiting process again for grad school, I was like, I'm not gonna lie, you can find all of this information. Like if you know what to look for, you find everything you need for free. And it only take like 5 minutes or less. Or if you know somebody, it take less than that. But yeah, so me and my dad signed up for NCSA because my dad, he like I said, he was one of them. He was a helicopter parent. We used to say that. But he was really involved in everything that I do. So when he realized, like, okay, you want to go to college for this, let's really tap in. He didn't really know like how to do all that stuff, but he committed himself to kind of figuring that out. So when he found out about NCSA, he was like, oh, like, let's just see like what the investment is about or whatever the case is. And so that's really what we ended up doing. It's so funny because I remember when I was on there, Coach Green, he actually used to coach at Purdue. Okay. And I mean, I didn't think I was going D1 with my times. I was cool with that. I was like, I'm just trying to run in school, just not JUCO. I'm like, I got the grades to go to a 4-year school, so it don't make no sense to go JUCO or go to community college. And so it said that Purdue had looked at my profile, and my dad was so excited. He was like, "Oh, Coach Green wants to coach you," and I said, "Be serious! Like them girls at Purdue are running circles around me and everybody else in the country, like." Coach Green don't want me. He's like, just wait. Coach Green wants to coach you. And I'm like, be so serious. And so like after like, you know, really coming to the terms with the fact that like, yeah, like D1 don't want me. Like I said, I was cool with that. We ended up talking to the coach at Ithaca. I don't remember what came first. I don't remember if it was the academic piece that came first and then I started talking to coach, or if I started talking to coach and then like the academic piece came. But whatever it was, I ended up getting the park scholarship. So like at Ithaca, it's like a full ride. You also get a stipend and stuff like that. They take care of you for 4 years. And so yeah, like all you gotta do is like community service and like just really be about like changing your community and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, cool. I got this scholarship. I actually had to go out to Ithaca for like a set of interviews that we had to do because I didn't think I was gonna get it, but
Okay.
the Lord works in mysterious ways. So I went out there to do my interviews and stuff, and I wanted to do like a visit around campus, but we were doing like too much stuff like for that particular program for me to like go visit the track and stuff. But I did get to talk to Amber. No, I didn't talk to. Did I talk to Amber or Allie? I talked to one of them, and I had lunch with them, and they got to tell me about the program and the team and how Coach Potter works. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'm interested in coming here. So he got on the phone with me and my dad a couple times, and she was just so excited about me being there. And I'm like, well, girl, you the only one in my inbox. So, you know, what we really talking about for real? And I said, I already got school paid for because I know D3 can't get no money. So, what, like, why not be there? You know what I'm saying? And I ended up getting there, and it was a great time. Yeah, so that's how that works.
And so when you were at Ithaca being in New York,
Yeah.
right? When you got to Ithaca, I guess kind of like as far as the cultures and stuff, like what was, I guess, some of the biggest challenges when you got to Ithaca? What were some obstacles, some hurdles you had faced there?
Man, that was so. As you can tell, I'm a very like outgoing individual, very expressive. I can't shut up to save my life. Like all I do is talk, and I have a lot of energy. And I made that very known when we had our orientation. I was acting a fool. Like I don't even know if I still got the videos from orientation, but I was acting stupid. I was like, "Yeah, this is my school now. We're gonna have a blast." I ended up getting to school, right? I'm looking at the track team. I said, it's like 2,100 billion jillion white people here. I don't know how I'm about to deal with this. Mind you, like I said, Peyton is very white. Like my high school was white, but it was still very like it was a lot of culture going on, and like my school tried its best to not play like that, you know, racism mess, you know. Yeah, but they tried their best. And so when I got there, I'm like, I don't know how to deal with this. And so it was crazy because I didn't talk for like 3 weeks. Like I talked, but I didn't really like talk. I was very much like get in, get out. And I remember the day that I finally just cracked, and then I was like, hey, and everybody was like, no, not everybody. It was a couple of girls who were at orientation, like the same orientation that I was at. And I was like, oh my God, we were so worried about you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She said, because you like haven't spoken for like 3 weeks. And like when I saw you at orientation a month ago, you didn't act like this. Like you were so outgoing, and now you're like talking again. I'm like, yeah, girl. But I didn't really know how to like explain what the reasoning was. I didn't really figure out how I was feeling until like my sophomore year, because I wrote like a piece about it for our school newspaper. But I'm just like, you know, yes, my track team at Peyton was majority white, but like the school itself still had a lot of like other like cultures and stuff involved in it. Not to mention, I'm still growing up on the South Side, and then my summer track team was all black.
Yeah.
So I'm still not used to like being surrounded by like that many white people in the space that like I genuinely like enjoy. And like I said, the track meets that we go to, bunch of black kids and stuff too. So it's just very, very, very strange. I didn't really know how to like cope with it and deal with it. So that was the first thing. Like the culture shock was so crazy. And then some other stuff too. You know, yeah, like being one of the only few black girls on the team. But then sophomore year came around, and I ended up bringing up my own black people, Tia and Mariah. Loved them so much, but they were like my saving grace on that team. Like when they came in, I was like, Tia, Mariah, like you're not allowed to quit. We're besties for life. I still talk to them actually. And y'all not leaving me. Like y'all can't leave me here.
And these people, Tia and can you say?
Yeah. Tia and Mariah. Yeah.
Mariah, are they fellow Chicagoans too? Or are they?
No, so Mariah and Tia are both from upstate New York. Tia is from Vestal. It's like really close to Binghamton. And then Mariah is from Boston Spa. So I think they had a culture shock too, because Binghamton, like for Tia, like they had a lot of black people and stuff. And then Boston Spa, I don't really know what the makeup of Boston Spa is, but Mariah definitely kind of like felt it too, where it was kind of like, I don't really know how to feel. But I remember the first day of practice, like seeing them, and it was just like, damn me, bro, you're not leaving me. And then some other stuff. I mean, the school as a whole, I mean, it is upstate New York. People can get kind of racist. I never directly faced the racism, but like hearing the stories and like the amount of emails that we would be getting from the president, by like, oh, well, so and so did this and we don't condone that. I'm like, can you kick these people off campus? Like, I'm not about to play with y'all. And then I would say like access to like resources that like Black people would need, right? So like it's the middle of upstate New York. Ithaca is very small. When I need to get my hair done, my nails, I don't want to have to drive to Syracuse every single time. Not to mention, I'm thinking Syracuse is bigger than what it is. I get out to Syracuse a couple times. I'm like, this damn near the same stuff, except it's just a little, it's like this much bigger. I'm like, yeah, bro, y'all didn't scam me coming out here to upstate New York. It ain't nothing happening up here. So yeah, definitely the access to like resources that I felt like I needed. You know, I did end up finding places like where I could like take care of myself, or I would like plan my hairstyles around like when I would go home. So like, you know, I keep my hairstyles in like for 2 months or something. So, you know, if I'm back home in Chicago during this break, go get my hair done, then I'm cool for like half the semester. So all having to deal with all of that stuff was definitely a lot. But that's also like part of the reason why I left, because yes, I had a lot of success at Ithaca, but I couldn't deal with being in a small town no more. And then also, you know, I just wanted to be around more Black people. So
yeah, and let's talk about that too. You know, I guess you summarizing. You spent how many years at Ithaca?
I did all 4 undergrad years at Ithaca.
Yeah, all 4 undergrad. Okay.
Yeah.
So just, I guess, sum up that time period, just that undergrad time, like, because I looked at some of your numbers. Now, the one thing that I can say, you're my 3rd track athlete that I've had on the show. No, 4th. Excuse me. You're my 4th.
You interviewed Britley, right?
Yeah, Britley. I had Britley. Yeah. I had Spencer Gudgel, Fair Frith. But yeah, so you would make my 4th. And so the one thing that I always notice, especially about the track athletes, is like, it's still a sport that I'm learning about, especially as I get deeper into this. And so when I go to y'all time logs and the sheets and all I see is numbers, I'm like, you know, it's kind of overwhelming. But looking at what you were able to do at Ithaca, it looks like you did well.
Yeah, so, I try my best.
Can you just summarize that time period at Ithaca?
Yeah. So my freshman year was definitely super rough because my first year running college track, I was a mess. Okay, like Coach Potter tell you, like, or one of my summer coaches, Coach Billy. I remember the first day I got there, we didn't even have practice yet. I'm calling Coach Billy, I'm crying. He like, so what you want to do? You want to go home? I'm like, Coach Billy, why would you say that? He's like, so either you gonna get off the phone and stop crying or come home. I'm like, you know what? Fine. So, but yeah, freshman year was definitely like a really rough experience. Was definitely learning how to manage my emotions and stuff like that. But yeah, I was definitely like doing my best. So the fastest girl on the team at the time was Allie. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, so I ain't even gonna try. But Allie was like a really strong mentor for me. Like the first couple months I was there. Unfortunately, she did end up deciding to leave the team after a little while. So I was kind of just like out there thugging it by myself in the 400 group. But you know, we was making it work. And then my freshman year, I ended up making it to regionals and finished like top 50, like in the country, like overall on the rankings list. And I'm like, that's pretty good for somebody who don't know what she be doing half the time.
This is more than just D3. This is D3 through.
Oh no, this is just D3. This is just D3. Okay. No. Yeah, no, I wasn't that good. I tried to be, but it didn't happen. But yeah, I was top 50 in the country for just D3. And then my sophomore year, well, this kind of started my freshman year. I was telling like the upperclassmen, I'm like, yo, so how we getting to nationals, stuff like that. They looking at me. They said, girl, we don't be going to nationals for real. Like, what are you talking about? I'm like, y'all not trying to win a trophy? Like, what's good with it? And they just be like, you know, we getting old and it's just not gonna happen. But I was like, bro, I know that I'm like some 18-year-old that like talk y'all ear off too much, but I think we could lock in for a trophy. Like, I think we could really do this. They like, girl, whatever, you gonna do something. Okay, cool, blah. sophomore year come around. This is what I mean by speaking stuff into existence, because I really be making stuff happen. So sophomore year come around. Guess who? Before they sent home for COVID, was number one in the country. The whole team was number one in the country for 2 weeks. This was 2 weeks before nationals. I said last year we wasn't even top 15 or maybe top 20, top 25. I don't really remember. I just know we wasn't really hitting on nothing for real. And I kept pressing my teammates. I said, yo, we gonna break these school records. We gonna do this, we gonna do that, and we're going to nationals and we're getting the trophy. Like, I don't care what nobody gotta say. Boom, lo and behold. Like I said, number one in the country as a team for 2 weeks. I was number one in the country for a little while. Then I got bumped down to number 2, but it's okay. And then the week before nationals, we had got ranked second. And so then I'm like, okay, we tied for a trophy. Like, it's between us and I forgot the other school, but I'm like, we really all gonna have to like put our lives on the line to like win a gold trophy. Because I was like, oh, I'm just thinking about a trophy, but I'm like, national championship team. Like, I mean, we here, we might as well. And you know, COVID happened and
right.
Not that way. And so then we come back. I'm like, okay, we didn't lose that many people. So I feel like we still need to be shooting for the same goal of like at least getting a trophy at nationals. So we didn't have an indoor season, but we ended up having an outdoor season because, you know, everybody figured out their regulations. And so we ended up finishing 4th in the country, which was great. I'm like, look at us. We're doing our thing. And that was the first time. Well, technically the first time I made All-American was when COVID happened, because this is a lot of letters, but USTF CCCA, they like named everybody who made nationals All-American, because technically you have to go and compete and then be top 8. But they were like, if you made the list, if you qualify, we're making you All-American. That's why you see 3, and I'm gonna keep jacking that to the day I die, because I was number 1 in the country for the DMR and then number 2 in the country for the 400. So I don't care what nobody say. Okay. But then the first time I officially made All-American, like by actually competing, was my junior year when we got that trophy, that 4th place trophy, I think. And yeah, I got 7th, and I was like, boom, I did it. Like, let's lock in, let's keep doing this.
Right.
Junior year come around, and then we end up getting a 3rd place trophy indoors. I did not make All-American. I got smoked. That was a very difficult time for me. And then also I didn't even expect to make it because my dad had passed the December before like the season started. So like we in the 2021-2022 school year, my dad passed that December, and so he passed right before like my senior year season started. And I'm like, I don't know what y'all want me to do. I remember the first meet back, it was really bad. I was crying, like having a whole panic attack, and my teammates was like just like taking care of me and stuff like that. Right. And then like I said, I didn't really expect to make nationals, but I had one good meet. Say, hey, I see y'all there. We ended up going, like I said, I ended up running pretty bad, but we got a 3rd place trophy. Outdoor season came around. It was the same situation where like I just wasn't running well, had one good meet. I actually planned on quitting after our conference meet because I was like, I can't do this no more. I can't deal with anything that's going on. But yeah, I ended up running fast enough, made it to nationals. I went in as 11, came out as 11, so I didn't make All-American, but I'm like, I didn't go down, so you know, cool. And then we didn't end up getting a trophy as a team, but some of the other girls that were running did really, really well, so I was proud of them. But yeah, that's kind of how it's been. Yeah.
So, you know, what was the transition, right? And I'm not gonna lie to you. Because of your expressive personality, I might have to bring you back to do it because I feel like it's a lot there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just for the sake of time, and right, we gotta press on. But
yeah,
what was it like transitioning from Ithaca to Kentucky? Like, what was the process? How did that opportunity come about? Like, help me understand that.
So, as I told you before, when I first was getting recruited, I was like, D1 is not an option, but I'm not tripping. But when I was getting the transfer portal, I was like, you know what? Why not? Like, let's see what the D1 life is about. And not in a way where it's like, oh, I'm gonna do it just to do it. Like, there was a very intentional goal in mind. It was like, I know how fast I want to run. I know that I want to make USA teams. I know I'm gonna do all this stuff. So why not go train with the people that have done that? Like, iron sharpens iron. Why are we shying away from the stuff that we need to be doing? So I'm like, all right, cool. We going D1. Let's make some shape. Mind you, my time still wasn't D1. Like, I was running 55. 55 not gonna get you a scholarship at like the type of Division I schools that I was kind of eyeing to go to, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna shoot my shot anyway. Even if I'm a walk on, I know where to find money to pay for school, so I ain't even tripping about all that. The final two schools that I had decided on, because the way that I did the process, I started looking at academics first and then kind of let track and field come second, because like I said, I knew that I could get my money from academics. So I'm like, I'm gonna go through the academic side first, get scholarships and stuff squared away. Then I could come to the coaches and be like, hey, I'm already in school. You don't have to worry about paying for me. But like, let's take a chance. Let's see what happens. And so the last two schools that we ended up like getting down to was Nebraska and Kentucky. I didn't end up going to Nebraska because they didn't have my program, and I wasn't trying to get my MBA at 21. Like, I just felt like that was doing too much. And then we got to Kentucky, and the reason why Kentucky happened is because one of the athletes who used to go to school here, she just graduated from Tennessee. She did her 5th year at Tennessee. But DeJour Miles, she used to like run circles around me in high school. She wasn't from Chicago, but she was on like the same summer track circuit as me, and she was smoking me every single time. So my dad was cool with her mom through Twitter, because that's all he liked to do, just yap on Twitter. And so he texted her mom and was like, hey, can you get us in contact with Coach Green? And I was talking to Coach Green, had an unofficial visit out there, and I was like, boom, I'm going to Kentucky. Cool. Ended up getting here. That was like the roughest like physical transition period of my life, because if y'all know anything about how Coach Green trains, it's bad. And I thought Kentucky was bad until I found out that Arkansas was worse, which is why they be running as fast as they do. But I'm like, yo, like, how am I supposed to survive this? Because at Ithaca, like, we didn't do a whole bunch of volume training. Like, yeah, we ran a lot, but so 9 200s versus 20. Very big jump. And mentally it wasn't going well. Physically it wasn't going well. I wasn't traveling. Like, I was a hot mess. Like, I felt like I came here and like did terrible. And I still kind of feel that way, because I have a post about it on Instagram, because I only competed 4 times. I just didn't run, like, I just, everything that I was like fighting to have happen didn't happen. And so it was a very rough experience, but I don't regret deciding to do it, because at the end of the day, like, you're not gonna know until you try. So
right. I mean, and I'm glad that, I guess that kind of brings us to present day. Let me ask you this: what was, I guess, or I'll say this. I'll say this, and then I ask you a question. So when I got to Lexington, I was kind of like, well, as far as like kind of it being so tucked out, it's like country, and then it's the city.
Yeah.
So like that, you know, when I was there, because I very similar to you, when I was just trying to gain some stuff in your profile, I was just like, man, we got a lot of similarities in the sense that been to multiple schools, kind of been all over the map. You know, you lived, you know, in the DMV, you moved to Chicago, go to New York. So I kind of got similar experiences being in different places. And then lastly, the most blaring difference would be we spent a season at Kentucky. I spent the 22-23 football season there. That was my only season there. Before I kind of succumbed to injury. But for me, when I was in Lexington, I was kind of like, I didn't really, how can I say that? I didn't really enjoy my time. Like, I was kind of like a ghost up there. I tried to build community. I was in the training room more than anything, because like I said, I was over injury. But like, not my time in Lexington, it wasn't, aside from playing football and like going deep and reaching a goal. Aside from that, like, I don't really have any memories. Like, I really don't miss it or anything. For you, kind of being, are you still in Lexington?
I'm still in Lex right now. Yeah.
So how has it been, you know what I'm saying, transitioning to that culture? And like, what was the one season that you were able to spend there? Like, what was that like?
So for me, I'm on two sides of the fence, because I'm the same way about Ithaca, because I swear up and down, I would never live in a place like Ithaca. It's too small. But then I catch myself like calling my friend Gisela, and I'll be like, yo, we really used to like have a bunch of fun back at school. Like, I miss y'all, you know what I'm saying? But it's still very much like, no, I would never want to spend an extensive amount of time there. but like the community that was there, I
Mhm.
miss them so much.
Yeah.
But then it's kind of like the same with like Lexington too. I don't want to be like the way that I'm like looking to be out of here by like September, November. Only reason why I say that late is because I'm traveling a lot this summer, so it don't make no sense trying to like move. But I'm like, the way that I'm gonna try to be up out of here as soon as possible, I'm gone because
Yeah.
Lexington as a town, like, it's nothing really like holding me here. Like, it's nothing that makes me be like, oh my god, like I'm a mixed Lexington.
Yeah.
But community though, I'll definitely miss them because um similar to like you, my first semester being here, it was only track. It was track in class.
Yeah.
And I was still trying to like find my footing on a track team and like find my community on a track team, which I felt like happened a lot more this year on my second year being on the team as opposed to my first. And then I end up remember I met this guy named Nigel. Nigel, my guy for real. Like, that's my homie. But I remember I met Nigel and he was like, well, you need to come to like the MLK Center, like whenever you got free time, like it just be
Yeah.
there, like come by. But I'm like, what are you talking about? So I ended up going and I really did find like a lot of people that I could really
Yeah.
just vibe with, hang with, and like friends outside of track because honestly, sometimes you need friends outside of your sport, like people that
Right.
aren't just
Not really.
completely invested in like the same stuff that you're in because being surrounded by track all the time can just be very like mentally consuming. So I definitely found my people there. There's still some stuff that like I feel like I don't know. I mean, I'm grown now. I'm 23, so I can say that I party. But you know, the parties at Ithaca my freshman and sophomore year were better than like anything that I've ever experienced here in Kentucky. I'm like, y'all don't know how to party for real. Probably because there's no Caribbeans down here. Because all the kids in New York,
Yeah.
they from some island somewhere, so they know how to get down. But I'm like, y'all ain't really vibing like that for real. So I'm gonna just be in the house. Like I remember there was like 7 months, like I just didn't party because I'm like, I don't want to leave my crib. I'm tired, and y'all do too much. So but yeah, definitely two sides of the fence. Like I don't want to be in Lexington because I don't like Lex like as a place, but the people, I definitely have some people that I could probably call my lifetime friends or like just be reminiscing about a couple years down the line, just thinking, like I really do miss so and so. I think they cool. Like I hope they're doing well in life. So yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's actually funny. You mentioned the MLK Center. I got yeah, I went in there. I would try to build community going in the MLK Center, but like I can't lie to you, dog. Like I got a girlfriend. I've been with my girlfriend for 2 years, okay, and so I go in the community center. At the time, I had locks.
Yeah.
So, come on, man.
I had to because that's so real. Like
I had to.
If you like you said, you try to be in there, so how they be acting sometimes. Like I said, I love them down. I love my people in MLK, but sometimes I be like, y'all be tweaking, bro. Like
I had to stop going in there. Because I just go in there. Because do you know Jamal that working there? Jamal?
Yes, I love Jamal.
Jamal is my guy, man. Shout out to Jamal. I'm gonna have to clip this part of the interview, but yeah, I would go in there. Me and Jamal, we'd have conversations. He'd kind of, because I let him know like, dog, bro, I couldn't live in Lexington if it wasn't for football. Yeah. I was coming home every weekend when we was in our office. It was 5-6 hour drive, so I'll come back down here, see my girl and whatnot. But yeah, though, so yeah, the MLK Center, it's like that. But, Katelyn, I am going to cut this interview because, like, man, we got some great content. But not only that, I'm gonna have to bring you back for part 2 because you got a lot of juice. I like it. We need it. So
for sure. And honestly, like encouragement to you too, because like I said, I got my own podcast too, and like sometimes it's be a lot. And so I'm rooting for you. And I also appreciate like your interview style and all that other stuff because
that's what this is about, man. I didn't make this show to do what this is for what the people don't know, what they don't see, the experiences, like you having to deal with your father's death and still be in track and just, the whole spiel, man. Like, I don't think enough attention is brought to like what college athletes have to go through.
Yeah.
Like, they're still trying to perfect their craft and be successful and make it to the top. and what they do. So, what's your podcast name? Plug it real quick.
It's called Out of the Blocks. It's with me and my big sister. She's not my big sister for real, but she's gonna be my sister for life. My big sister Jasmine Todd. She's actually gonna be competing at the Olympic trials this upcoming week because she is a world silver medalist. She was running with Allison Felix, so she's really cool. But yeah, me and her have a podcast together. We talk to track and field athletes and same deal. We just be having a good time, getting people to learn about what athletes really go through. Because at least for me, like I'm gonna say this. I understand scholarship athletes, have to work hard, but don't nobody gotta work harder than a walk-in athlete.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Well, guys, I will link the description. I will link her podcast in the bio in the description below. Katelyn, I appreciate you coming on. If y'all are accepting football athletes,
Hey, look, like my boss just had me recruit somebody yesterday. I'm like, where are you getting the money for all these people? That's not my business.
Guys, just like that, it's the Modest Sports Show. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share it around.
I should value only